Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another watch list. Basically, think of this as a monthly TV guide for me to let you know what and when TV shows that I'm interested in, maybe you're interested in, are coming out. Like always, in the description down below, I'll include links to any trailers that might be available to anything that I bring up during this watch list. First up, on February 8th on the CW, we had the 9th and final season of The Flash, which I'm very, very excited about. Obviously, it's kind of wild to see this kind of be, you know, it all coming to an end, which is also sad too because this is the final like Arrowverse show, and so to see it kind of come to an end, it's also going to end up being the longest of the Arrowverse shows. But to see this kind of being the end, to be Barry's final run. Obviously, I won't spoil anything, but I have heard some of the casting, some character appearance, or actors returning, playing certain characters, you know, for this final season. I do believe it's going to be a shorter season. I mean, most final seasons typically are, but I want to say this is only 13 episodes, which comes as no surprise. But it seems like the main overarching theme to this is, once again, just kind of protecting the future in the regard that Barry's kind of mapped out the future of like, wow, we know exactly what our future is going to be, but it's like, yeah, but that kind of takes away a little bit of the surprise of the future, knowing exactly how everything kind of comes down, how it all plays out. Very time traveler's wife, interesting enough, which I can make that reference now because I know at least a semblance of that story because of the sadly short-lived TV show. Seeing how Barry's story comes to an end, how the Arrowverse in a sense kind of gets wrapped up, you know, where a lot of storylines, you know, pick up in, you know, not just with Team Flash, but a lot of characters in the Arrowverse, because like I said, I know a lot of people are kind of being pulled into this final season, so it's going to be wild to see ultimately how the Flash comes to an end. Also on February 8th, also on the CW, we have Kung Fu Season 3 returning, which I'm very excited about. From where I remember us leaving off, obviously, this is after the reveal of Bo's betrayal and how Nikki's handled that in the aftermath of things, and kind of where the last episode left Nikki and what kind of situation that puts Jen in when it comes to his campaign, which is not going the way he wants it to. In fact, things are kind of, you know, the whole politics things are going to get nasty, and Nikki's going to end up being a focal point of that. And I'm sure the Bo situation doesn't help, but a lot of Nikki's other track record, despite the heroism, the vigilanteism, it's definitely going to be interesting to see where Kung Fu ends up taking us as we come back for the next part of the season. I'm excited to see where all this goes. You know, can they save Pei Ling from Zhao, and how that whole situation is going to get resolved, how she's going to get stopped. On February 9th on HBO Max, we had the Harley Quinn Valentine's Day special. It's titled Harley Quinn, a very problematic Valentine's Day special, which I'm so excited about. Just any excuse to get more Harley Quinn, I'm all about it. I haven't read too much into it. In fact, I watched the trailer only for the release date. I had my eyes turned away because I don't want to go into this knowing anything. Obviously, I know at the centerfold of this is going to be Ivy and Harley, after, you know, the tumultuous situation their relationship kind of went through, the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs last season. But there's also where Harley ended up at the end of this last season, and how that contrasts and how that plays into this special. But I think the little glimpses I caught, just couldn't help myself, but I think we do see other couples at the centerfold of this, but just, it's more Harley Quinn and more chaotic fun. That's all I need. And also, like, you know, I've talked about it time and time again, I'm a sucker for a good romance story, and I love Harley and Ivy's relationship. But I'm also curious how long it's going to be. I'm sure that information's out there, but I wonder, is it going to be like a regular episode length, or is it going to be like probably like 40-ish minutes, kind of being like almost like 2 episodes? Either way, I don't care how long it is. Hopefully it's on the longer end, but whatever we get is whatever we get, and I'm so excited. I'm here for it. I'm so excited to see what goes down in this holiday special, essentially. Also on February 9th on Netflix, we have Season 4 Part 1 of You, which I'm so excited about, picking up in the aftermath of Season 3. Obviously, we have Joe in Europe. I forgot where it was specifically. Was it just London that he's in? Obviously, looking for Marianne, but obviously we don't know the full context of it, but he's kind of enjoying kind of a teacher job, and that finds him, well, finding a new person to kind of stalk, which also, and I talked about in my trailer discussion, it seems like it kind of gets him wrapped up in potentially a murder mystery, which is kind of interesting. So he has to kind of put on a little bit of a Sherlock Holmes hat while also still doing his, you know, Joe thing. So it seems like this season is going to continue to be the wild ride that You has continued to be. So I'm very, very excited to see where the first half of season 4 ends up taking us with all of that. On February 17th on Prime Video, we have the second and final season of Carnival Row, which I'm very excited about. I definitely need to rewatch season 1 because I don't remember what happened. To be fair, season 1 came out, what, 4 years ago? I want to say it dropped in 2019 if I'm not mistaken. Either way, to get a conclusion, I'm very excited to see ends up what's happening. I remember that series being kind of set in a, I don't even know if it's Victorian era. I don't remember what era it's set in, but I do know that there's kind of a divide between, like, I want to say just the Fae is what they're called. I mean, it's typically what, like, fairy folk are typically called, but, like, fairies and other, like, mystical creatures are living in a world of humanity, and there's kind of obviously this, it's very, you know, X-Men in that regard of it being an allegory, not even just a hidden allegory, it's just a straight-up allegory of, like, racism and the divide between the humans and the non-humans, and set in this particular, because I know, like, Orlando Bloom plays a character who's detective investigating, like, some murders, and obviously on the other side of things is Cara Delevingne, who's playing, like, a fairy that he fell in love with, but they have a complicated situation. I think I remember where season 1 ended, but like I said, I definitely need to rewatch season 1 before season 2. So I have not seen any of season 2's trailer, so I don't even know what to fully expect. On February 24th, also on Prime Video, we have a new series called The Consultant. At the time of recording this, the only thing out is a teaser trailer. It is about Christoph Waltz is playing this guy who's coming in to fix a company. That's all the information I really know about the show. I try not to read too deeply into it, but from what I've been reading, it's a little bit of a dark comedy. So it seems like their new, I guess, boss to some extent, because he's kind of coming in running the failing company to some extent, or trying to get it back into shape. He seems like he's kind of, as one of the characters says, like, oh, it seems like our boss is like a psychopath, and it seems like some wild stuff happens. A lot of it's like quick shots and like out of context. He seems like a weirdo. Seems like he might have some deadly secrets. But I'm very, very interested to see what this show is fully about. When a full trailer probably comes out, I'll probably avoid it just so I don't go into this knowing too much. But from what we've seen so far, the little bit I've read, it seems interesting. So I'm excited to see what happens. And finally, on February 26th on NBC, we had the 10th season of The Blacklist, which I'm very excited to see what happens. I don't believe at the time of recording this, there's a trailer. If there is, I'm not going to worry about it. Picking up in the aftermath of last season, obviously we're going to be carrying over. The fact is, Martin's out of the picture, but he made sure to set a lot of stuff in motion against Red. You know, after Red kind of finally solved the grand mystery behind, you know, finding out that there was more behind Liz's death, and kind of now having resolved who was behind it, and it being, you know, once again kind of betrayed by someone so close to him. And obviously we also had like certain, I believe the actor who plays Aram and the actress who plays Agent Park are like stepping away from the show. Probably always room to come back type of situation. So what other characters are going to pop up to potentially fill those voids is going to definitely be interesting, but also see what crime shenanigans Red finds himself in this season, and where all of this ends up taking us. And so that brings this month's watch list to an end. Like always, if there's something that's coming out that maybe I wasn't aware of, that you're aware of, that you think maybe me or someone else would be interested in, don't be afraid to leave it in the comments down below. Really, that's all I'm going to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.